Today's video is all on how to entertain guests, how to have parties at your house with really, really yummy but really healthy and vegan snacks. Hey guys, it's Mona, and today's video is all about how to make really healthy snacks, kind of discreet and low-key, so that if you have maybe like family or friends or you entertain people and maybe they're not the healthiest or they don't want any of your like weird healthy food, as some of my friends say. Even my brother will be like, oh, Mona has the weird healthy food. But a lot of times it's just because of the packaging or because of what you tell them. And, people have preconceived notions. So these are really great snacks that I swear if you didn't tell anyone, they would not know that they're grain-free, vegan, paleo, gluten-free. Like we've got so many different options of everything. Everything's vegan, but then we even get into some more specifics. So a lot of these you can dish out into plates, and we'll go over all those little tricks. But everything I got here is pretty much from Thrive Market. I get most of my stuff from Thrive Market because I like getting everything delivered. It's just so much easier. I really like Thrive Market because you can go on and literally search by category. So I'll usually do the vegan category, and then I'll do the organic category. And then depending on what I'm finding, sometimes I'll do non-GMO. You can do gluten-free. And they just list you everything on there like that. You can kind of save your favorites. I even have a little shop page of all my favorites. So I will put the link below for that. They have different membership options. They have like a 1 month, a 3 month, a year long. I like the year long because it ends up being like $5 a month. And with my link below, you can get either a $10 or $20 credit. So let's get into the snacks. I'm going to kind of start on this end and then work my way over to the left. So the first thing we have are these lesser evil Paleo Puffs. So I'm not paleo specifically, but a lot of snacks I like end up being paleo. I really, really like this brand. I've shared their popcorn before. They've got a really good like Himalayan popcorn. I like these because number one, they're grain-free, and two, they've got like a good cheesy flavor, but of course they're vegan. Anything that I say is cheesy is always going to be vegan. I don't have to like eat grain-free. There are grains that I add into my diet, but I've kind of talked about this before. When I can find a great grain-free option, it's more like a why not? Like it's kind of a no-brainer because there's certain things that I will never get grain-free. Like I'm not going to get a grain-free oatmeal. I'm not going to get a grain-free rice or like a grain-free quinoa because it's just, there's no option. And to me, cauliflower rice just does not taste the same as regular rice. I don't really like it. Whereas with like cheese puffs like these or crackers or different things that are grain-free, when I can, I'll eat them because they can cause inflammation. It's not bad. I'm not trying to give any kind of like fear with eating or, say to totally avoid grains, but it's nice to have the balance. And because they can be inflammatory and bother some people, when there's great options, you can have them. So these ones are just little like Paleo Puffs. They basically look like little cheese puffs. They're so good. Another thing, like I said, part of my eating, I really wouldn't tell your guests that these are not, what they're used to eating. I would not tell them that they're vegan, especially if it's like a lot of guys coming over. Sometimes they just like are not open to it. Just have them laid out in a dish. This is also good for kids. Honestly, if kids started on these, they would never need to go to the regular thing. I'm actually going to even jump ahead to this snack because these are pretty similar. They're just two different options. They're both just like cheese puff alternatives. This one, if you look back at the ingredients, like they use like cassava. This one uses like chickpea flour. So pretty similar, but the protein is a little bit higher in this one because of the chickpea. So it depends on what you're going for. So the only difference between these two is that this one is grain-free and this one is not, but they're both still amazing alternatives to cheese puffs. And just to give you guys a little bit of insight into like traditional cheese puffs that I used to eat as a kid and love, like, we didn't know they were as bad then. They literally take like corn that's most likely GMO, like heat it, process it into a corn dough, process it even more after that, add like whey protein, whey powder, milk powder. Sometimes even when it's not a cheesy flavor, they will add like a milk derivative just to, who knows, for like a filler. Like there's so many different reasons. It's always just either to preserve it or to maybe give it some weird flavor. But honestly, put these out and test it. See if anyone notices. Maybe they just like say they like the flavor and don't say anything else. So next is this one. This one's called Plant Snacks. They use cassava. I like cassava as a replacement. Siete uses them a lot in chips. It's just more of like a root vegetable. So using that as a powder is a really natural form of having something taste filling, give that kind of grain like vibe, but it's not a grain. When something is grain free, I'm not necessarily saying it's low carb. I'm a huge fan of carbs. I think that healthy carbs are so good for you, especially with working out. I noticed that I just feel more tight and toned when I eat healthy carbs, especially with weight training. So they do still have carbs, but a much healthier carb. And there's a big difference between using like bleached white flour and like, you know, who knows, different kinds of things that they put in there versus like a healthy carb like cassava. I do want to warn you, these definitely taste healthy. So these are on the healthier side. I like them because I tend to like plainer foods. I like to have like a plain kind of cracker or chip and put it in like a dip that maybe has more flavor. So your guests will definitely notice that these are healthy, but they're still really good. There's no sugar added. You can have them out and try them. Just a good option to have. I also wanted to share these crackers that I've actually shared in a good amount of my other videos, but I think these are a really good one for this purpose specifically because they taste and look and feel exactly like a normal cracker, you know, like a traditional cracker. They're not like raw, they're not filled with seeds. They have a very similar texture. This flavor specifically, the sun-dried tomato and basil, is so, so good. It looks just like a normal cracker. You could definitely put these out with a little bit of dip, beef and cheese. No one will know the difference. Salsa is just one that I wanted to add it on here. I know we've all had salsa, everyone likes it, but I would recommend and encourage you to eat more salsa. Like this is one thing you can totally go to town on. It's such a low calorie, but healthy, like antioxidant filled flavor enhancer, I like to call it. Whenever there's like a condiment that really adds a lot of flavor, but doesn't add a lot of extra oils or too much fat, I just like go to town with that. I've even used salsa as like a salad dressing. Like if I'm out somewhere and there's no dairy-free salad dressing, like you gotta do what you gotta do. Like ask for some sides of veggies and whatever and throw some salsa on there and it adds a lot of flavor. So salsa is a really great one and everyone loves it. Again, always look at the ingredients. Just make sure there's no need for like added junk in salsa. Just stick to the basics. Don't get any extra like creams or dairy or anything in it. Next, I wanted to share a little bit of chocolate because I love dark chocolate. I love this brand. This is Hu. You can get these online. In New York City, they actually have like a Hu kitchen, which is pretty cool. And they make hot food. If you guys are in New York, you should definitely check it out. This chocolate I really like because it still tastes really sweet, even though there's no refined sugar. This one's like a cashew vanilla one. And this one has like a golden berry in it. Just looks like a little chocolate. Kind of like a raisinette. This is another example I have of like a little puff. I really like these if you can't tell, and there's so many different options. So I thought it would be fun to give you guys a different variety. These are made with cauliflower, so they are going to be like a little more, whenever anything's cauliflower versus cassava, it's a little bit lower calorie. So it depends on what your like diet preferences are and what your goals are. Some people don't want to lose any extra weight. They just want to be healthier, and maybe like grains or certain things give them like a bad reaction or bloating. So you could go for something that's just healthier, but not necessarily lower calorie. Whereas when you do like a cauliflower substitute, it's usually going to be lower calorie. I thought this was pretty cool because it also had probiotics in it. So kind of a plus there. And I actually was eating these last night, testing them out because I just recently discovered them. And they taste nothing like cauliflower. I wanted to make sure, because some cauliflower snacks do taste like it. No one will know. So this one's a little bit of an alternative. This one is made with plantains. So plantain chips aren't anything that new as well. Like I'm sure you've seen them places before, but oftentimes they're not actually healthy because they have so much added like canola oil and processed oil that it's still gonna be pretty high in fat. This one I really liked because it only has coconut oil, Himalayan pink sea salt, and plantains. So it's much cleaner, it's organic. You know, you're still getting the grain-free option, but at the same time, you know, it's actually healthier. Because one thing that bothers me with like, you know, healthy food is when they substitute one thing, but then overcompensate with something else really unhealthy. So if I find something like vegan, but there's just tons of oil and like it doesn't mean that it's healthy just because it's vegan or just because it's paleo. So I'll show you what these look like also. like little yellow plantain chips. Really good. This snack is so cool. Actually, I just had everyone here that's filming this try these, and we all really like them. They're basically pretzels with like a butternut squash base, but they also add in like veggie powders. They add in like spinach, broccoli, carrots, tomato. They have a little bit of turmeric. They have a little bit of cinnamon. They're plant-based, non-GMO. So sometimes with canola oil, you don't know if it's GMO or not. They make sure this one's non-GMO. So pretzels are just like such a staple, such an easy one to do a big bowl of like pretzels. The only thing someone might notice on these is they taste a little bit like cinnamon, which I like. I think they're pretty yummy. The texture is the exact same. They look the exact same. Almost just like you taste a little bit of cinnamon, which I think is kind of cool. I also wanted to share this variation of tortilla chips. So there's tons of tortilla chip options that are vegan, and I've shared Siete a lot. They have like the grain-free ones. These are kind of cool because they're nacho flavored and they're also cauliflower based. So I feel like it's kind of the same thing circulating, but everything's got its own little variation. And trust me, like of everything, you're gonna like at least 70% of it. It's just kind of finding what works for you. Do you prefer the cassava? Do you prefer the cauliflower? But there's just so much alternative like snack options available now. This is what they look like, kind of like a nacho cheese Dorito. These taste 92% like a nacho cheese Dorito. Like that's my percentage I'm going with. I'm like even trying to be fair. So I actually love Siete, and they have a nacho Dorito too, but this tastes more like one and feels more like one. So if you guys love them, you've got to get these for your like guests anyway. Everyone will go nuts over these, and they are vegan and just really good, grain-free. It's kind of a no-brainer. This is a cracker I just wanted to throw in here too because it's kind of a favorite. Really healthy, gluten-free, organic. I really like, this is like a very clean one with the ingredients. It's like quinoa, pumpkin seeds, brown rice, sunflower seeds, flax seeds, or it's organic. I've talked about this also. I would recommend getting a flavored one because the plain ones are even too healthy for me, and you like everything healthy, but they just taste a little bit like too dry and grainy, whereas the flavored ones pack a lot of punch, so you could pair this with like a dip or just have it out, and I think people will like these also. And then lastly, I wanted to share this vegan mac and cheese because I feel like mac and cheese is like a pretty big staple. I don't know, it's like an easy one to have in a dish. It's also quick to make. If you're entertaining, I know it's a lot of work and it can get stressful when you're having a lot of people over. This is great for the kids. This brand, Annie's, it's organic. They've got cheddar flavor. Make sure you watch because Annie's does make regular cheese ones too. So not all of them are vegan. They do have a vegan one, so definitely look out for that. But, you know, it's just a good one to have. Is it super clean? No. They have some, you know, they've got cornstarch, they've got natural flavor. Natural flavor I'm not always a big fan of, but there's definitely times when I eat it, I'm not eating perfectly all the time. And like, is this better than having unorganic, non-vegan mac and cheese? Yes. And I purposely want to include things like this because I don't want anyone to think that they have to eat perfectly all the time and never touch certain ingredients. Like unless you want to live in a bubble and you have someone making you food all the time, and you know, you have all the time in the world, it's just not realistic. So you do the best you can with what you have, and there are such great alternatives anyway, and this is a great one. So this little vegan mac and cheese could be a good one to have for parties and just for like an emergency food when you don't want to order out. So these are all my little healthy snack ideas. You guys, I promise you, you will love all of these. They all taste good. I tasted all of them. I didn't just buy any and not try them. They really, really all just feel like normal snacks. I purposely just included ones that taste like the traditional version. Like there's tons of raw snacks and vegan snacks I could give you that are super unique, but that, you know, taste different and unique. These are all very, very normal. So I hope you enjoyed. I will link everything below this video. I'm going to put individual links to each snack so you guys can just go and see the snack specifically. I'll also put my link for Thrive Market if you guys want to check it out. Like I said, they do have different membership options. Basically, you just go on, you put in your email address, and then you can pick the 1 month, 3 month, or 12 month. I like the 12 month because it is cheaper and it ends up just being like $5 a month. And there are options to get $10 or $20 off your first order. So if you guys have any questions, leave it below. If you like this like little snack idea video, I can definitely do more of these. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.